Today on Good Morning Suncoast, Florida and Washington unveil plans for gun and school safety. We'll have the breakdown.
And the Suncoast is facing a teacher shortage. What school officials say is causing that shortage is straight ahead.
And an event that seemed like it was going to attract thousands to the area kind of turned out to be a dud. We've got the details straight ahead. Good Morning Suncoast starts right now.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5.
And good morning, March the 12th, Monday. Reality has set in. The weekend is now officially over.
That is right. The sleep goes down and the fun begins, people. Welcome to Monday. I'm Stephanie Webb.
And it's harder with the time change as well.
It is. I think it's like a mental thing, too, because I swear I missed that hour. But then I talk myself into missing that hour, and then I'm sad.
What do you think, John Scalzi?
Nobody wants to go to bed when the sun's out.
No.
No, nobody does. But that's the way it is. Good morning, everyone. I didn't even get a chance to say good morning to you guys this morning.
Good morning.
Very busy morning here in the weather department. We've got a bunch of stuff going on. We have a small craft advisory up. We have a lake wind advisory up. We have a high surf advisory, dangers of rip currents, all associated with the winds, which are going to be very gusty this afternoon. Plus, we have some showers on the way as well. Temperatures across the region generally around the 70 mark, and that's it for today. Not going to get much warmer than that. We'll see the temperatures remain flat and even actually go down a little bit as we head into the afternoon because our winds are going to shift. They're going to get stronger and drier, cooler air is going to filter into the forecast. Plus, add to it rain showers this morning. We have about a 60% chance later this morning into the probably just past the drive time hour of seeing showers and maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. We'll talk about that, talk about these colder conditions this week in just a few.
Thank you, John. Checking first alert traffic right now on this Monday morning. So far, so good. That'll change though as the morning progresses. There's a scene first off in Manatee County. Well, Bee Ridge Road has some business already there. You'll see in the eastbound lanes starting almost way back at 41. Well, that just changed. Tuttle toward Beneva, some issues there. And then down by Venice around the bypass, a little blip there on the screen. Otherwise, nothing major at 5:02 in the morning.
Well, of course, you can stay up to minute on your up-to-minute traffic and all those changes and construction delays. You can find it all on the app as well. Just download the app by searching WWSB or My Suncoast in the App Store.
Sarasota County Sheriff deputies are reminding boaters to use safe boating practices. This after a boating competition that led to a marine rescue near Turtle Beach. 2 boaters had to be rescued by the Coast Guard on Saturday after capsizing. Both men are okay. The sheriff's office is using this opportunity, though, to remind boaters that despite the seemingly warm weather, even the brief exposure to the Gulf is low enough to produce hypothermia. And there's a live shot right now of the bayfront by Marina Jack.
Well, it is a growing concern across the country, and it's one that's hitting home here on the Suncoast. The country is facing its first major teacher shortage since the 1990s.
Marla Spence is live with what's causing that shortage. She joins us now in Sarasota. Marla?
Good morning, guys. That's right. There's a shortage of teachers across the Suncoast. It's something that isn't only seen across the country, but also right here on the Suncoast. Now, both Sarasota and Manatee counties have a shortage of teachers. We're told the average teacher vacancy so far for Manatee County is between 80 to 100, and for Sarasota County, approximately 100 vacancies. Now, substitute teachers who are not certified in teaching, they're filling up those open positions. We spoke to both Manatee and Sarasota County school districts who tell us there are fewer teachers to choose from nowadays. We spoke to one career specialist who tells us why.
You know, we're not near any of the large 4-year institutions, so it's a little bit harder to draw students. All these other areas are also looking for teachers, so it's got to be really competitive. I know our educational entities are going out of state to recruit anywhere where they can find teachers, so it's pretty competitive in that field right now.
We're also told between 2009 and 2014, students going to school for education went down to about 35%. Reporting live in Sarasota, I'm Marla Spence for ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Marla. Well, Florida is taking steps to improve its education system. Governor Rick Scott signed a bill into law this weekend aimed at helping students. Now, that law creates the country's first ever private school voucher program for bullied students. It permanently expands the Bright Future Scholarship Program. It expands the Gardner Scholarship Program for students with unique abilities. It also creates reading scholarships for those students who struggle with reading. Now, that bill also aims to raise the graduation rate with more performance funding, requires state universities to find internship opportunities for their students, and also requires all Florida schools to now display the words "In God We Trust."
Well, lawmakers ended their annual session with a rare Sunday session this year after approving a nearly $89 billion spending plan. Here are some of the highlights for you this morning now. An over 2% increase for public schools, a small decrease in local property taxes, increased funding to purchase and preserve land, increased spending on Medicaid and the state's subsidized children's health insurance program, and funding for Visit Florida, the state's tourism marketing agency.
And the Trump administration released its proposals for gun and school safety policies.
Overnight, the White House released plans to strengthen security in schools, improve background checks for gun buyers, and overhaul parts of the mental health system.
ABC's Linda Lopez shows us the other proposals that didn't make it into the final plan and the major ones that didn't.
At a meeting with lawmakers just after the mass shooting in Florida last month, President Trump making bold statements on gun legislation.
They're allowed to buy them at 18. So how does that make sense? How does that make sense? So I say that it should all be at 21.
But this morning, the White House is backing off those plans to raise the minimum age to buy assault weapons.
For certain firearms, again, there's going to be recommendations to states, a task force. I will say that will be a component of it, raising the age.
But that component, to create a new federal commission on school safety to examine the issue of raising the purchase age. The commission to be chaired by Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. The proposals will also include supporting the Cornyn-Murphy bill to improve background checks, expanding mental health programs, and working with states to provide firearms training to specifically qualified school personnel. Democratic lawmakers wasting no time criticizing the president's walkback on his proposals. Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey tweeting, "The administration's plan is weak on security and an insult to the victims of gun violence." Other gun control advocates like the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence also lashing out at the president, saying the measures show a, quote, profound lack of leadership. Linda Lopez, ABC News, New York.
A police department in South Florida is hosting a gun buyback event. This Saturday, the City of Miami Police Department is taking collected guns off the streets. In return, the gun owners will get a $50 gift card for any firearm and a $250 gift card for any rifle.
Well, this morning, police in Northport are trying to solve a very unusual incident in a Lowe's improvement store over the weekend. They're trying to find the two men and woman in this surveillance picture. They're not being charged, but police believe they may have some information about a customer who was attacked in a home improvement store earlier on Sunday. Officers say a customer was at the Lowe's on Tuscola Boulevard around noon when he was pushed down by another customer. If you recognize people in these pictures, you're asked to call the Northport Police.
Well, a Sarasota event expecting over 60,000 people faced some weather challenges this weekend. The first balloon festival gained some traction on social media. Around 67,000 people from all over the country considered attending the four-day event, according to the official Facebook page. Mother Nature kind of threw a little bit of a wrench into that. The event's director says only about 10,000 showed up by the end of the weekend. Because of the not so great weather, organizers are expecting to take a hit of more than $50,000.
Frustration for us is that, we have to pay for generators, light towers. Each balloon costs around $3,000 to bring into town, hotel rooms, propane costs, all of the logistics of running this event.
And speaking of costs, some prepaid hot air balloon rides had to be canceled over the weekend because of the high winds. Organizers say those customers will be reimbursed for their tickets, but refunds will not be issued for parking costs because that money will go toward renting the complex to local charities.
Now, that video looked beautiful.
It did. I know, it was nice. It got a little rough, though, over Saturday and Sunday.
I think that video is from Thursday or Friday.
Yes, that wasn't when it was nice. Those were the good parts out there.
Still ahead, first alert traffic, and the East Coast braces for a third nor'easter in the past 2 weeks as southern states are hit with hail and thunderstorms.
And 6 months after Hurricane Irma, who on the Sun Coast is still picking up the pieces? We'll talk about that. Stick around. But first, let's head over to New York right now. This was the scene. This was New York City's East River. It was a scene of a helicopter crash. You're looking live at this area right now where they're still trying to figure out exactly what happened. 5 people were confirmed dead.
Yeah, it turns out they were strapped in very tightly, and they might not have known how to release those straps.
Right.
The pilot did survive. More on the story next half hour. First, the local weather scene. Here's John Scalzi.
Oh boy, I tell you, big changes coming up today, no doubt about it. First of all, we'll have some showers move through the area a little bit later on. There's a Chance of stronger storms to the south of us mostly. For our area, maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two, but basically it's just going to be a very, very windy afternoon. Multiple advisories up due to the winds that are coming our way, and as well as the chance of perhaps a pop or two of lightning. We'll talk all about the forecast in a second.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. We promise we're more than a dealership. We're a destination with a movie theater, massage room, aquarium, cafe, and more. We promise to give you top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. And if you do, we promise you the best deal. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301, sarasotaford.com.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Air temperatures right now are just about as warm as it's going to get this afternoon. 70 degrees in Sarasota, 72 Lakewood Ranch, 70 in Perry, 71 Bradenton, 72 Longboat Key. Venice comes in at 73, so does Inglewood and Northport coming in at 71, and inland temperatures are just a degree or two cooler. The reason that the temperatures are going to stay kind of flat throughout the day is that the wind, which right now is southwest, is going to be shifting to the north, and it is going to be breezy. 100% relative humidity out there. The air is really kind of saturated. And if things were just a little bit different, we could have had a little bit of a severe weather chance today. But the atmosphere, the temperatures in the atmosphere are just kind of creating a stable environment that doesn't want to make the showers turn over and grow as quickly and as large as they might otherwise do, say, a month from now. So we are looking at, generally speaking, showers around with maybe an isolated thunderstorm or two, though right now there's not a whole lot of thunderstorm activity out in Gulf waters even. So we go through it hour by hour and put the futurecast into motion, and you'll see that as we head into the mid-morning hours, we'll see a shower or two around. But then the rain showers really do start to build a little bit, and as we head into the afternoon, we'll see some rapid clearing. And then the winds start to really pick up. We'll see perhaps a sustained wind of 20 to 25 miles per hour. Lake wind advisories, which is basically a small craft advisory for inland bodies of water, in effect for the entire area. High surf advisory, rip current advisory. Not a good day to be in the water this afternoon, though I'm sure there'll be some windsurfers out there. Temperatures will start to fall as well. 65 in Sarasota by 4 p.m. And then as we head into the overnight, temperatures will fall into the 50s and then into the 40s as you wake up tomorrow morning. And in fact, the cooler air will be sticking around right straight through the week ahead. Rainfall futurecast shows that the total rainfall amounts are not going to be all that heavy particularly. I mean, we're talking everywhere probably under ½ an inch, but there will be some pockets of some heavier rain to the south of us due to the thunderstorm activity, which is most likely going to occur there. So if you're traveling, say, to the Miami airport later this afternoon, there could be some problems with airport delays due to weather there. But otherwise, we are looking at just scattered showers across the region. Tide and radar right now pretty quiet, and I think we'll probably squeak through most of drive time without too much of a problem. But between the hours, I'd say, of about 9 a.m. and noon would be the best chance of seeing some of the showery activity that's located just to the north move into our area. And some of it could produce a thunderstorm or two. There's a lot of it out there, and it all has to sink south before we get into that drier, cooler air coming our way. All part of a frontal system that's attached to a low that is going to, what we call, bomb out in the Atlantic, creating another nor'easter for parts of down East Maine and even to the northeast. Could be some gusty winds, some high surf, beach erosion, as well as the potential for some snowfall as well up there. So not a great day to be in the northeast. For us, the winds will pick up and we'll have a breezy afternoon and a breezy evening. Then watch what happens to those temperatures. Beach and boating forecast, not so good. Northwest wind coming in at about 20 through the afternoon into the evening hours. Rough out there, choppy conditions. Not such a good day for boating. We'll go with about a 60% chance of these early showers clearing in the afternoon, temperature of about 70. Overnight tonight, we're dropping down to 48. Tomorrow, only about 65, but full sunshine around. Still kind of a breezy day tomorrow, but not as breezy as it will be this afternoon. Then over the next several days, we stay in this kind of cool regime with temperatures in the mid-60s to maybe hitting the 70 mark by Friday. Otherwise, nighttime lows will be in the 40s, so a chilly couple of nights before we warm up a little bit as we head into the weekend. Back to you.
All right, thanks, John. Let's take a look outside. Actually, to the roads, to your first alert traffic this morning. Roads looking still pretty good around this time of the hour. Not too much to see out there in Manatee County. Now, if you're heading down into Sarasota, there is a little bit of a slowdown that you can see right there on 301 heading southbound. A little farther south, and you can see another little slowdown right there on Clark around that 75 interchange. Other than that, not too much going on out there today. The roads the farther south you get are pretty congestion-free at this hour. That is your first alert traffic.
Well, as John said, the eastern seaboard bracing for its third storm in 2 weeks.
Here's a live look at Columbus Circle in New York, where they're expected to get 4 to 6 inches of snow, according to the National Weather Service. Now, states along the northeast are expecting snow to hit later on tonight. The Boston area could get up to a foot of snow, while southern Maine, they might get up to 18 inches by Wednesday. And of course, thousands are still without power from the last storm. And a winter storm watch is in effect for most of New England, parts of New York, and then most of Virginia as well.
It was about 6 months ago we were recovering from Hurricane Irma. The Suncoast did not sustain quite the damage predicted initially, but some families and businesses are still dealing with the aftermath of the terrible storm. Leaders with the Bradenton Women's Club found their building's entire flat roof was found dozens of feet away in a nearby brush. The water soaked through the insulation and the drop ceiling, there it is, left 3 inches of water in the club's finished wood floor. The damage totaled more than $200,000.
Pretty much we were devastated. We didn't see how we were ever going to recover from that.
The group has since been back in operation, and they're hosting fundraisers to pay for roofs and other repairs. The club has to raise about $20,000 more to finish paying off the repairs.
Well, after a devastating hurricane season last year, Florida lawmakers are now looking to make sure that you are prepared this season and also helping to save you some money. Now, under a bill passed yesterday by Florida Governor Rick Scott, from June 1st to June 7th, you're going to be able to buy some hurricane supplies tax-free. Now, some of those supplies include flashlights and lanterns costing $20 or less, radios and tarps costing $50 or less, coolers costing $30 or less, and generators costing $750 or less. And of course, mark your calendars. Hurricane season officially begins June 1st.
Oh, brace yourselves.
I know. We're just talking about cleanup and then talking about, and it's going to start all over again.
Yeah.
All right, still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, Elon Musk says SpaceX is going to be ready to take more frequent trips to Mars by next year. What that means for human space travel when we come back.
And Facebook making it easier to watch baseball on the phone. We'll show you how. But first, a live picture of Nashville, Tennessee. Here's how it looks right now. Foggy, 34 degrees, chance of snow, high of 51 later on in the day. You're watching Good Morning Suncoast on ABC 7.
This is an important announcement. If you're between 50 and 85 and worried about your loved ones, you can still get affordable life insurance for peace of mind.
My life insurance coverage is guaranteed, and I was not required to get a medical exam.
I had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I got my coverage with one telephone call. No exam necessary.
I'm a smoker, and I wanted to take care of my family. I called to get my life insurance and my affairs in order. I wanted to do the right thing.
Call Final Expense No Exam Insurance. Your rates are guaranteed and will never increase.
I called and learned that this insurance cannot be canceled even if you get sick or gain weight.
And there are no restrictions on how my beneficiaries use the money when I'm gone.
Approval was easy and the price was right. I wanted to do this for my children.
Call 800-738-9812. 800-738-9812.
I actually started playing the game at 11 years old, so I started a little bit later than most players. But I was actually raised on Fighting Joe. The value here at Robert Trent Jones is unsurpassable. I mean, I have looked to other places. I've traveled all the way across the country. Everything is perfect as far as everything is the golf course, the rolling of the greens. Everything that I've encountered has just been absolutely incredible. And for the money that you spend, for the value that you actually get, it is unsurpassable. I'd recommend it for anybody.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny had been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Welcome back, 5:22 on this Monday. Live picture of Sarasota's Bayfront out there by Marina Jack, just north of the actual facility. Careful though on the water today. Gusty winds and showers later on. John's forecast will be just a few minutes away. On to consumer news now. Elon Musk says that SpaceX is on track to send his Mars rocket on short trips by next year. But first, some bad news for Toys R Us, Stephanie.
That is right. Thanks, Ray. It could be game over for all Toys R Us stores in the U.S. by as early as next week. According to multiple reports, the company may shut down its stores in the U.S., all of them. Toys R Us is the last U.S. megastore devoted entirely to toys. Without it, toy makers could struggle to sell anything but their most popular items. Now, the toy industry has seen a big decline in sales, mostly because a lot of kids are switching from physical toys to video games. And in health news, about 15 to 20% of hospitals and clinics in the U.S. have now teamed up with banks to offer health care loans. The hospital will determine different payment plans to a patient, often without a credit check. But maybe there are some things to think about. First up, for a consumer, remember that those cost estimates are actually based on what the hospital is going to be charging you, not what your negotiated, not what your insurance has already negotiated. And before you take out any of those loans, make sure that you know the interest rate and the terms. Financial experts say making an important financial decision when you're ill or you're injured or worried about your health may not be in your best interest. All right, so job description. Are you ready for this? Eventual astronauts wanted for exciting first manned mission to Mars, but you might not come back.
That's some fine print there, huh?
Right? You might not come back.
Yeah, one-way trip to Mars, remember. Thanks for that. ABC's Candace Gibson and Marcy Gonzalez have details of the new SpaceX mission to Mars. news.
In today's Tech Bites, the mission to Mars.
SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk says we're getting close to taking the first steps towards the red planet. He told the South by Southwest conference in Austin that his Mars spaceships will be ready to take short test flights by the first half of next year. The Major League is coming to social media.
Yeah, Facebook has signed a deal to exclusively stream 25 baseball games this season. All the games will air on weekday afternoons. The first game is the Mets versus the Phillies. That'll be on April 4th. Well, now is your chance to ride the roads as Super Mario. Nintendo has teamed up with Google Maps to use the cartoon character as your navigator.
If you change the arrow icon on your screen into a car, you'll be given the option to have it become a Mario Kart avatar. And those are your Tech Bites.
Have a great day.
Tech Bites, brought to you by AARP.
Question. Did you know that today is here for the taking? A day that's filled with more possibilities than ever before. It's time to explore and fearlessly open doors. No matter your age or stage, get up and soar. Moments like these keep us on our toes and also see us grow. Who would have thought that AARP helps us take on every day for whatever unfolds in our lives, our world. So let's take on today and every day with AARP, real possibilities.
Feel the clarity of non-drowsy Claritin and relief from symptoms caused by over 200 allergens, like those from Buddy. Because stuffed animals are clearly no substitute for real ones. Feel the clarity and live Claritin Clear.
Come on, Duck! You can do it, Duck! Hurry up, Duck!
You can do it, Duck. Ives helps keep your dog healthy at every stage, so you can always look forward to what's next.
Alex Karras Lincoln's 40th anniversary sale. Drive a brand new 2018 Lincoln MKC for $279 per month or the Lincoln MKZ for $299 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, where our mission statement is consistent commitment. Every client, every time. Located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
I owed the IRS $20,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions Now.
Call 1-800-565-7740. That's 1-800-565-7740.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator, there was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
ABC7 is the most watched, most trusted news source on the Suncoast, and we owe it all to you, our loyal viewers. Thank you for making us number one.
Get an engine failure over the East River, Lima Hotel.
Coming up on Good Morning Suncoast, federal investigators are trying to figure out what caused a chartered helicopter carrying 6 people to crash into Manhattan's East River yesterday.
And there's a teacher shortage on the Suncoast. What officials say is contributing to that shortage is straight ahead.
And a Central Florida man who disappeared 3 years ago may have been found this weekend. Those stories and John's forecast next on Good Morning Suncoast.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5:30.
Welcome back. Thanks for waking up and joining us on this early Monday morning. We're 1 hour less. We feel it in our bones. I'm Stephanie Webb.
I'm Ray Collins. We're up to March the 12th right now, and it sounds like a bit of an unsettled day, John Scalzi.
Indeed it is, and you just have to look at the satellite view to see that. A lot of cloud cover across the region this morning. Good chance of showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. I don't think severe weather will be a problem for us, but certainly some slippery roadways a little bit later on could be an issue. Otherwise, the big story I think is going to be the winds today. As we head into the afternoon, those winds are going to pick up, and we have several advisories currently in effect for the afternoon hours. Small craft advisory, lake wind advisory, which is basically a small craft advisory for inland counties, high surf advisory, danger of rip currents across the region, all of these things adding up to a very breezy afternoon. We are looking at the showers probably making their way into the picture by around 7 to 9 o'clock, and then by 9 o'clock to noon, that's probably when we'll see the heaviest of the rain moving through the area. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about this colder air that'll be brought in by those breezy winds. All that coming up in a few.
All right, John, we'll talk to you soon about all that rain. Here's the map right now in Manatee County as we speak. Nothing much to report. A little blip there at the top of your screen as you come into Palmetto. Northern half of Sarasota County, all clear right now. And then checking farther south, not much, all clear after all. It's 5:31 on this Monday morning.
Well, of course, your morning commute, it can be a tricky one, but you can always stay up to the minute traffic updates. You can get them right there on your phone. All you have to do is download our app, and you can find it by looking for WWSB or My Suncoast in the App Store.
Sarasota County Sheriff's Department is reminding boaters to use safe boating practices. This after a boating competition that led to a marine rescue near Turtle Beach. 2 boaters had to be rescued by the Coast Guard this past Saturday after capsizing. Both men are okay. The Sheriff's Office is using this opportunity, though, to remind boaters that despite the seemingly warm weather, even brief exposure to Gulf temperatures are low enough to produce hypothermia. This is the live picture right now of the bayfront along Sarasota.
Well, the country is experiencing its first teacher shortage since the 1990s, and it's a problem that is really hitting home here on the Suncoast.
So what exactly is going on with this? Marla Spence joins us live now from a local high school in Sarasota. Marla?
Yeah, guys, the need for teachers across the Suncoast is much needed, and it's a growing concern among parents, teachers, and also educators. Now, I spoke to Mike Barber with the Manatee County School District, and he tells us that there are between 80 to 100 teacher vacancies. Although Sarasota County is also facing a shortage, Barber tells me competitive pay is a contributing factor to that shortage. I'm told many Manatee County teachers are leaving to work in Sarasota and Pinellas counties to simply make more money. Manatee County teachers make $9,000 less than teachers in Sarasota County. Barber, and a career specialist, tells us the demands of being a teacher is very high, and they tell us this is also a contributing factor to the decline.
All industries are kind of experiencing a shortage. We saw, our population, our labor force has gone up 2% from last year, but our employment rose up 4%. So we're just barely meeting the need for the jobs we have. As we add more jobs, there's less and less people to fill them. And certainly a lot of our employers, especially in those particular career fields, have high expectations. And so they're not just going to take anybody who meets the bare minimum criteria for the job.
I'm also told stringent performance pay as well as testing preparations for students is also causing a decline right here on the Suncoast across Manatee and both Sarasota counties. Reporting live in Sarasota, I'm Marla Spence for ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Marla. Well, for the second day in a row, investigators searched the property of a man who vanished nearly 3 years ago. but wasn't reported missing until this month. Lake County investigators did find human remains in a backyard fire pit along with articles of clothing. Now, that investigation started a couple weeks ago after a friend of 36-year-old Michael Shaver contacted deputies saying that he hadn't seen him since 2015. Detectives say Shaver's wife also claims to have not seen her husband in several years, but investigators were forced to get a search warrant when she refused to let them search her backyard.
We believe that those remains have been there for an amount of time that would be consistent with the amount of time that Mr. Shaver has been missing. However, we're not going to speculate.
Investigators say Shaver's wife is a person of interest. Records show that the couple had a domestic dispute back in 2014, and although there aren't records that the couple ever divorced, neighbors say that she may have remarried since her husband went missing.
New details on that deadly helicopter crash last night in New York's East River. Witnesses posted this social media video last night. Police say all 5 passengers on board the sightseeing helicopter died. Just the pilot survived. It happened about 7 p.m. near Roosevelt Island. The fire department commissioner says the victims were out for a sunset photo shoot.
5 people besides the pilot were all tightly harnessed, so these harnesses had to be cut and removed in order to get these folks off of this helicopter, which was upside down at the time.
Passengers are usually shown a safety video that shows them how to take off those harnesses in an emergency. Now, this is the helicopter company's 3rd crash in the past 11 years. Very tragic. Caught on camera, cell phone video, moments after an SUV crashed into several cars in South Florida. Watch this video. Several drivers got out of their cars and tried to stop the driver from leaving the scene. One used a sledgehammer on his driver's side window there. The driver was later arrested. Police say other drivers shouldn't try to do this, but rather call 911 with a description of the car and or the driver. All right, here's a crazy one. A new weapon, battery with a pizza, allegedly. An alleged attack took place at a pizza shop in Deltona, northeast of Orlando. It all caught on camera. That's a mess. Investigators say the customer felt the shop got toppings wrong on one of the 2 pizzas. The owner tried to apologize and fix the error, but the customer wasn't having it. Not happy, threw the pizza at the worker.
She opens the box, puts her hand underneath the box, and just swings it at me.
Police charged the customer with battery.
Oh, boy. Early voting has officially started for the March 20th elections in Manatee and Sarasota counties. Now, that ballot includes school district and millage approval in both counties. Now, in Manatee County, early voting is going to be opening today for school board and Longboat Key elections. We spoke with the Sarasota County Supervisor of Elections about what kind of turnout they're expecting.
In the last gubernatorial general election, I think we had 57% turnout, so we never get quite as high as that. You know, this recent House District 72 election, we had a 36% turnout. For this school district election 4 years ago, this same referendum, we had a turnout of about 17%.
Now, other elections on March 20th include the Holiday Park Parks and Recreation District. During that early voting period, voters can cast their ballots at any of the 3 election offices in Sarasota, Venice, or in Northport.
State lawmakers are heading home this morning, and one bill yet to be signed involves Florida's opioid epidemic. That crisis kills about 16 people per day around Florida. 16. This new bill imposes new restrictions on prescriptions, calls for over $53 million in state and federal funding for treatment programs, and also updates the state's prescription database. More initial prescriptions would have a limit of 3 days, but doctors could prescribe up to 7 days for acute pain exceptions.
Well, it was a win for cats and dogs here in the Sunshine State. This week, Florida lawmakers unanimously passed a bill aimed at protecting animals. It's now going to be allowing a court to prohibit a person convicted of animal cruelty from owning any animal. It also requires animal shelters that take in stray dogs and cats to adopt written policies and procedures to ensure that every reasonable effort is made to quickly and reliably return the animals to their owners. That bill now goes to Governor Scott's desk to be signed.
A Lakewood Ranch animal shelter wants to double its space. Nate's Honor Animal Rescue unveiled its new $8 million plans this weekend. The expansion would allow the shelter to take in about 50% more dogs and 25% more cats, which translates to about 4,000 animals per year.
It's gut-wrenching when you go to a kill shelter and have to walk away and leave an animal there because you don't have the space. So now we'll have the space.
The expansion will also add a welcome center, a vet clinic, grooming place, and a community center. The project should be done in about a year. Nate's Animal Rescue. Fun fact, Nate is Nathan Benderson.
Oh, from the Nathan Benderson Park.
Benderson family,
Oh,
yeah.
Excellent. All right.
That's
Doing good things. I appreciate that.
Oh,
A lot of good news for animals this week.
Up next, latest and first alert traffic, and a second fertility clinic is saying they had a major meltdown. Hear what the doctor says will stop this from happening again.
And Fiona the hippo got asked out on a date, you go girl, by another baby hippo, but it's just a few states away. We're going to tell you about their long-distance love affair, maybe next.
Here's a peek at the White House in Washington. There it is, top right window, always illuminated.
Yes, getting that breakfast ready in that kitchen, getting all ready for that. All right, let's take a look at what our weather is going to be here close to home. John Scalzi?
Yeah, so we have a good chance of seeing some showers around today. I don't think we'll see severe weather here, but down on the southern tip of the state, there may be a few stronger storms building there. We'll talk about the forecast possibility of some showers during these morning times. Plus, some very chilly weather headed our way as we head into the afternoon. Breezy winds will bring that in. We'll talk about that on this First Alert Weather Day, coming up in just a few.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
It's time to take a road trip. Alabama's got 100 road trips, and some of the best are music to your ears, like the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. Or head over to Muscle Shoals and Fame Studios. Are you a star yet?
My mama thinks so.
Or, if that's your stomach I hear grumbling, our barbecue is almost a religious experience. Food good here?
Best in the country.
Alabama's got 100 road trips. Which one you gonna take?
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's at FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Now your ABC 7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Current temperatures about as warm as it's going to get today. They're hovering around the 70-degree mark, and we may lose a degree or two as dawn breaks on the Suncoast. But then we're not going to warm very much after the heating of the day because of a strong northerly wind that'll draw down drier, cooler air throughout the afternoon period. So we'll look at conditions right now that are 100% relative humidity, temperature dew point match. Southwest wind comes in at about 8. But that southwest wind will be turning increasingly westerly through the morning hours and then eventually northwest as soon as the front comes through. This is going to be a very sharp cold front, meaning that the sensible weather will be changing abruptly as the front moves through. So cloudy with showers to start the day, but then by afternoon clearing. We'll call it a first alert weather day because of a couple of things. One, the chance of showers this morning, which could be disruptive to you, but more particularly the winds that'll be picking up later this afternoon are going to be very breezy indeed. Several advisories up, rip current advisories, high surf advisories, lake wind advisories for inland communities, as well as a small craft advisory for boaters along the coast as well. We'll go with kicking in about a 60% chance of showers around 7 a.m., though I think mostly between the hours of about 9 and noon will be the particularly important period for seeing some rainfall around. By noon, the showers will start to end, and then as we get into 3 o'clock, that front will have been through, and clearing will have taken place. Winds will be picking up, and a lot more sunshine as we head into the evening. But temperatures will also start to fall, and fall pretty significantly. Watch the futurecast, put it into motion. Through the morning hours, a smattering of showers possible. Winds start turning out of the north this afternoon, and then they get very breezy indeed. By about 1 or 2 o'clock, we'll see a sharp change in the weather as the sun returns and we start to see some very windy conditions a little bit later on this afternoon. And by windy, I'm talking about sustained winds of 20, 25 miles per hour. You got a porch umbrella? You probably want to take that down later on this morning because it's going to get breezy out there. We'll look for nighttime lows that'll also start to fall off pretty rapidly, cooler than we've seen over the last few nights with bottoming out temperatures in the 40s. And you know what? This is going to stick around for several days in a row. Now, total amount of rainfall is not going to be all that great across our region. We're not going to see severe weather. We're not going to get a lot in the way of a thunderstorm chance. We do have a chance at seeing perhaps a thunderstorm, but this is more going to be a showery kind of event. We'll look for, passing showers during that zone between around 9 and noon. One band of showers will move through, then maybe another one will come through under the cloud cover that's around. So total rainfall amounts, under a half an inch, most likely under a quarter inch for most everyone. Down to the south, we have a better chance of seeing some heavier rainfall there because there'll be a better chance of seeing some thunderstorm and even some severe weather activity down in the very southern tip of the state. So showers right now just about to move onshore in parts of Pinellas County. Maybe some heavier rainfall there. I think the tendency will be for these showers to perhaps be a little bit stronger as they get closer to us just because our waters close to the coastline are a little bit warmer than they are just to the north. But in any event, severe weather not in the cards. So we'll look for those winds to pick up today. Obviously a terrible day for boating. Don't go out there in the morning and then be stuck out there in the afternoon as winds pick up at about 20 knots or so. It'll be choppy out there, no doubt about it. For today, 60% chance during the first half of the day, decreasing clouds in the second half of the day, 70 the high. Tomorrow, 65 the high, 65 on Wednesday, maybe 67 on Thursday. Nighttime lows each and every day in the 40s. And then we get to Friday and we'll start a warming trend that'll carry us into the weekend. Back to you.
All right, thanks, John. Let's take a look outside right now to your first alert traffic. Not too much to see at this hour. Most of the roads are running pretty smoothly. If you're heading in or out of Bradenton, starting to see some buildup right there on 301, which is pretty typical around this time in the morning. Now, if you're heading into Sarasota County, start to see a little bit more in that area as well, especially around the area of 75 and Clark Road. Definitely some slowdowns there, as well as Bee Ridge and Fruitville. It's like some of those hot spots that are starting to get just a little bit busier around this morning. The farther south you go, the better the roads get. So if you're heading southbound today, there's not too much on the roads out there. 548, that is your first alert traffic. Well, in this hour's Health Smart, depression may be linked to how you choose to go to sleep.
As ABC's Arlette Science tells us, turning off your TV before you go to sleep can help brighten your mood later in the day.
Do you fall asleep in bed with the TV on? Keep the hallway light on so you can get up in the middle of the night? For some of us, extra light is comforting, but this could be setting you up for depression. Public health researchers in Japan conducted a study on 863 Japanese seniors and their exposure to light at night, measured in lux. Lighting in a typical family room is 50 lux. A regular day outside is 10,000 to 25,000 lux. And the brightness of a street light coming through your window is 5 lux. People exposed to more than 5 lux at night over a period of 2 years were 65% more likely to develop depression. And this did not change much, even when researchers accounted for medical conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure. So make sure you have a nice comfy bed in a quiet room, and pull the curtains, switch off your tech, and let the dark surround you. Good sleep is vital to good health, and now we know it may be linked to staving off depression as well. With this Medical Minute, I'm Arlette Sines, ABC News.
For the second time in less than a week, another fertility clinic reported potentially devastating malfunction. Pacific Fertility in San Francisco alerted hundreds of patients that their frozen eggs and embryos might have been compromised. This after a breakdown last week at a clinic near Cleveland. Well, this new clinic says more than 400 patients may have been affected when liquid nitrogen levels dropped in one tank that houses some eggs and embryos.
We're not saying this tissue is lost. Yes, it may be affected, and we have to acknowledge that, but our hopes are that it will be a minimal impact.
The clinic plans to add a third alarm system to their tank to make sure this never happens again.
All right, well, switching gears a little bit, how about a little hippo love on this Monday morning? There's a little long-distance love affair going on at 2 zoos. The San Antonio Zoo posted a public declaration of Timothy, the hippo's love, for Fiona, the hippo, online. It said, perhaps we can meet someday and be boyfriend and girlfriend. I am single and available. Really, straightforward, right to the point. The Cincinnati Zoo responded, Fiona thinks that you're cute too, but it is what is on the inside that counts. Your DNA will decide if you're the one for our little diva. We'll have to wait and see if the potential romance goes anywhere. Thank goodness for social media. They can FaceTime each other and work on that long-distance love affair.
Another example of online dating.
Right?
That's great.
Right to the point.
Here's a pretty picture of the rotunda in Washington, built back in the mid-1800s. The heart and soul of the nation's capital. I have local news headlines for you after this. Stay with us.
Everything all right?
Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery? Sure. We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Thank you.
You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Here's today's job of the day. ABC 7 is seeking an account executive to join our winning sales team. This is an outside sales position covering the Tampa DMA. Visit mysuncoast.com/job of the day to apply.
It was really an awful situation last night. 7 o'clock off the East River in New York. A tourist helicopter out taking some photos crashed. All 5 on board were killed. The pilot, rather, I should say, not all 5. The 5 passengers were killed. The pilot was able to get out of the harnesses.
Yeah, apparently it was a private photo shoot that was going on at night, and there's so much, there's a lot of people out and about in New York that time, and quite a few different places were actually caught it on. It's like going and making the rounds on Facebook today.
Yeah, you'll see that video of that awful very, very gentle landing.
Yes, didn't look as bad, and then you hear it afterwards.
Yeah.
All right, well, here are some of the other top stories that we're following for you on the Suncoast today.
Florida lawmakers are heading home today after passing a budget in a rare Sunday session in Tallahassee. The $88 billion plan includes a number of election year tax breaks.
Now, one of those was actually about allowing residents to buy some hurricane supplies tax-free from June 1st to June 7th. It covers things like flashlights, radios, coolers, and generators.
Northport police want to talk to the people in these pictures about an incident at a Lowe's improvement store yesterday involving a customer being pushed to the ground. They feel that the folks in these pictures might have information about the incident.
And coming up a little later in the hour, some Florida citrus growers are now growing a new kind of crop. What it means for your grocery prices at 6 a.m. That's coming up on Good Morning Suncoast.
Well, it is a first alert weather morning, and that's not really good news. John says not a good day for boating, put it that way. And
no surfing for you today. I'm sorry, Ray. Sorry.
Or tennis, for that matter. We'll have more of Good Morning Suncoast next hour here on ABC 7.